All right, welcome everybody. My name is Nancy Sanchez. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator here at TPA. I will be going through a quick slide deck before I turn it over to Harmony from Adobe Podcast, who will be taking over. So bear with me one moment. So thank you to Wondery, our community building sponsor, who helps us with our educational programs. Upcoming events. Tomorrow we have a webinar by CNN. I definitely recommend you pop in. It is a short one, just 30 minutes. So if you have time, log in. The AMBI is March 31st. It is quickly approaching. April 10th, we have fair use for US podcasters, a crash course. The 16th is our annual membership meeting. Just another reminder that the AMBIs are around the corner. If you are not a member of TPA or you know somebody that's not a member, we'd love to grow our community. Please use code TPA25 and you have 25% off your first year of membership. If you're not following us on our social media channels, please help us grow. All our socials are here for you. That's it on my end. Just a quick reminder. We want to make sure that if you have any questions that you are utilizing the Q&A box so that we're able to address them accordingly. If you have a question at any point throughout, and we can answer it at that point, we will do so. If not, there will be time at the end of the webinar for you to answer those questions. So Q&A box preferable. Obviously, if you use the chat, we will absolutely do our best to get to that. So Harmony, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Nancy. Hey, everyone. My name's Harmony. I'm with the Adobe Podcast team. I've been here almost a year, so excited, very much excited to share the product with you all. I lead customer education and success and community for the team. And surprisingly, like when you think of Adobe, you probably think, large apps and teams like Premiere and Photoshop, but we're actually a smaller team of about 15, mostly engineers, and then a couple folks on the marketing end. So yeah, really excited to show you around today. And as Nancy said, please throw questions in the Q&A, and I'm happy to address those in real time. So I'll try to keep that up as we go along. And then just for folks that are brand new to Adobe Podcast, you might be like, what is Adobe Podcast? Does Adobe have a podcast, or is this an actual product? And the answer is it is a product. So feel free to follow along if you'd like. You can open up a Chrome tab and just go to podcast.adobe.com, and it's very easy to follow along. And that's one of the things I love about the tool, is that it's probably the simplest tool out there for recording and editing audio content. So just a quick overview of the product. It's an AI-powered audio recording and editing tool that allows podcasters and content creators to produce high quality audio content. It offers tools like enhanced speech, which I'll show you momentarily, which allows you to remove background noise and echo. Very simple drag and drop. We also have a mic check feature, which allows you to make sure you're sounding great before you hit record. And then we're going to be spending most of our time in our studio feature, which is an end-to-end recording, or you can actually even upload existing audio. And then you get a transcript back. You can do text-based editing and then download and share your content from there. Now, I know this probably sounds familiar to other tools on the market. And some of you might already have tools that that are completely built into your workflow. But I would say is two things. Again, the thing that really differentiates Adobe Podcast in the market is just this. It's so simple to use, and and as you'll see, the interface is very straightforward. There aren't any like hidden knobs or buttons. It's kind of all out there. And then the second thing is that it's tightly coupled with what we call Adobe Express, which is sort of an all-in-one design video editing tool, also very simple to use. So you're going to have that at your fingertips as well. So let me just share my screen and we'll dive in here. I'm going to share this Chrome tab. Alrighty. Sure. Okay. So everyone should be seeing the screen that says AI-powered audio tools that elevate your voice. If you're not seeing that, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that I've got the right screen here popping up. So as I mentioned, Adobe Podcast is a web-based tool that allows you to record, edit, and transcribe your spoken audio content. Um, Before we dive into Studio, which is the tool we'll be using most of today, I just want to give you a quick tour of the other features here. So if you go to podcast.adobe.com, you'll see our three main features or surfaces. Mic check, again, is exactly like it sounds. It's a very simple way to just make sure you're sounding really great before you hit record. It will give you some visual feedback. So I'm just going to start recording a little bit. That way, we're just testing out my microphone to see what kind of feedback I might get. So I'm going to push stop. And in a second here, it's going to tell me, okay, so in this case, what do we have going on here with the distance? So it looks like I'm too far from the microphone. And for reference, I was using my built-in laptop mic as opposed to my Shure MB7 here. So that makes sense. And so it's telling me, I might want to move a little bit closer. I might want to turn up the volume a little bit too. But as far as background noise and echo, I'm doing okay. I'm in a nice, nice room with my door closed. So all set there. If you want to do another quick sound check, you can also just hit test mic again, and it'll allow you to go through that process again. So hopefully pretty straightforward. No additional, sort of hidden things there. So let's check out enhanced speech. I would say this is probably my favorite tool, just in terms of how I would say like almost magical it is. So I'll let it speak for itself. So you can upload audio or video files. Um, in this case, I've got both here. So we'll take a couple. We'll take a listen to something that's audio only, and then we'll take a listen to some of that video as well. So I'm going to turn the enhancer off so we can hear what the original audio sounds like. So I'm going to hit play here.
I am a writer. Writing books is my profession, but it's more than that, of course. It is also my great lifelong love and fascination.
Okay, so you probably heard there's a bit of boominess to the room. There's some background noise, a little bit of echo. So I'm going to flip on enhance, and let's take a listen now.
But it's more than that, of course. It is also my great lifelong love and fascination. And I don't expect that that's ever going to change. But that said,
So
something
notice
kind of
here, I'm going to push pause. So as you could hopefully hear, it stripped out all of that background noise. It does have a default setting here so that it will enhance the spoken audio to 90%, and then it'll retain 10% of the background noise. But as you saw, as I started to pull in a little bit more of that background noise, I can kind of control how much I want to pull in that ambient noise. The default setting is pretty good, and it works most of the time, but it's not a silver bullet. So you might want to go in and adjust the settings based on the audio that you input. Here's another example here. Our friend Nick, he's at a soccer game, so I'm going to flip it off, and outdoors.
So we're at the Emirates football ground. We've just been to see Arsenal women's team against Manchester City. You can hear all the number of people.
Okay, so lots going on in the background here. So let's flip on enhance.
So we're at the Emirates football ground. We've just been to see Arsenal women's team against Manchester City. We can hear all the number of people coming out, and that's a really difficult thing for an algorithm to actually cut out.
All right. So hopefully you guys can kind of hear the difference there. I've got my headphones on, so it's pretty clear. But as you can see, it does great with recordings that were recorded in suboptimal settings or outdoors. It's also great for stuff that you might even be recording in your home studio, but occasionally, there's background noise that happens. My spouse teaches guitar lessons in the other room, so sometimes I need to get rid of that. So you can just drag and drop it in here, flip on enhance, and then once you're ready to go, you can download the enhanced file, and that'll just download locally to your machine. So you can go to your downloads folder, grab it, and then upload it to wherever you'll be sharing your content. How are we doing so far? Any questions in the chat? It looks like there's a couple in the Q&A here. So I think, is it Hema? Are there plans to include video recording? Yeah, so at the moment we don't have video recording, but we definitely plan on incorporating that later on this year. So yeah, great question. The thing that will come first is actually the ability to upload an existing video. So if you recorded it in something like Riverside or Zoom, you'll be able to actually do that quite soon. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. And then I see Shrikant, what is the ratio of speech to background noise set by default in the free tier of the service? Oh, great question. So it does default to 90%. So in the free version, this is a great question. So in the free version, you actually don't have access to the sliders. So that's the main difference. So yeah, it'll default to 90%. And again, like it does pretty well at that percentage, but every file is different. So in some cases you might want to be able to dial that intensity down or boost it all the way up to 100% if, for example, like you recorded something on your phone and it's just doesn't sound that great. So hopefully that addresses that question. So I'll check that one off there. Okay, cool. Let's hop into our studio feature. I'm gonna go back here. And let's jump into Studio here. One caveat I will just say right away for Studio is that right now it's only supported in Google Chrome, whereas Enhanced Speech you can use on any browser and on mobile as well. So Studio is it is one of our newer tools, and yeah, currently available on Chrome only. All right, I'm gonna make my window make it a little bit bigger there. Okay. Awesome. So in Studio, like I said, this is where you can record or upload existing audio. Then you'll get a transcript back. You can do all of your text-based editing. You can incorporate music. You can add in placeholders if you need to like re-record an intro or outro. And essentially what you'll see here is a dashboard of all projects that you've created so far to date. So I can see, if I scroll down, I can see all of my projects that I've created so far. Also, if you're just getting started, if you don't have any projects yet, you can start with an audio template. We've got 4 of them in here. And then down at the bottom, you'll also see this graphics templates section. And we'll dive into this a little bit later on, but this will basically take us into Adobe Express, which is like kind of our version of Canva. So we'll touch on like podcast cover art a little bit later on. Cool. I see Keith has a question. Let's see here. How does the enhanced speech tool treat background music? If someone's playing music and singing, would it try to remove the music? Yeah. So the short answer is yes, Keith. So what you would want to do if you want to retain music that, let's say that's part of the show, is I would add it like separately later on, and like have it fade in, fade out, or set it as background, because it's basically trying to remove anything that isn't spoken audio. Down the road, we will probably be adding some additional ways of using our sound lift technologies. So, that option to have a second slider for background noise, we actually just incorporated that. So I think like as time goes on, what we're trying to learn from our users is like what other what other tools are going to be useful for you based on your workflow. So if that's something, you'd like to be able to have is like a second slider to be able to like only control music, that was super helpful to know. So hopefully that addressed your question. Uh, cool. And then I think Lena asked in the general chat, we have Adobe package for our team. Is that included in there or would we need to purchase? Oh, great question. So if you're already paying for Adobe Creative Cloud, you're going to automatically have access to Adobe Podcast at no additional charge. So just if you go into Creative Cloud and search podcast, it'll open up podcast in your browser. So yeah, you don't need to pay extra for it. The other thing is if you're already paying for Adobe Express Premium, you'll automatically have access to podcast and vice versa. So the short of it is that if you pay $9.99 a month, you're getting access to Adobe Podcast and Adobe Express for that amount every month. Hopefully that helps. I'll show our features page a little bit later on so you can kind of see what's included in both plans. But that's kind of the TLDR on that. Okay, I think let's dive into a project here, just so you can kind of see what the start to finish process looks like. So when you create a project, I generally recommend creating a project per episode. That way you can kind of keep all of your episodes neat and tidy in here, which I probably need to clean some of this up, but that way you'll be able to see that, and it'll show your most recent project that you had open. So I'm gonna before we jump into a project where we've already recorded, I want to show you what you get when you start from scratch. So when you create a blank project, you'll basically get this blank canvas. So you can do one of two things to get started. You can either start recording or you can upload existing audio. Now the thing is, if you record solo, very easy to get going. You're just going to hit the red record button. You're going to go from there. But you can also do remote recording with guests. So if I wanted to, for example, invite Nancy in here, I go up to invite guests, and I can invite guests in a couple different ways. One is I can invite them with their email, easy peasy, just put in their email. They'll get an email notification saying, hey, you've been invited to, actually, I should title this so they can see what session it is. TPA session. Good idea to date it as well. There we go. So then I would send an email, or if you don't want the person to have to be able to log in with an Adobe email or an Adobe account, just send them a link, and then it'll create this shareable link here. We're going to copy that, and then just send them that URL, and then when they pop that into their browser, they just have to enter their name and then they'll join the session. So a couple different ways to get folks in. You can either send them that link or invite them via email. Cool. And then once we're ready to record, I'm just going to record something really quick just so we can kind of see what that process looks like. So we can see I'm recording solo. It's capturing my levels here. Now, if I had a second person in here, I would see them right below and it would show their levels as well. I think that's probably enough. So I'm going to just hit stop. Okay, cool. And as we can see, it's like this will transcribe really quickly. And so we'll get it back here. Great. I'll just play this. So we can see I'm recording solo. Okay. So the gist of it is like, let's say I want to have it start here where I'm recording solo, highlight everything before it, hit delete, and then that will remove all of that underlying audio that was before I said I'm recording solo. So I'm recording solo. It's capturing my level. Cool. I see in the Q&A, Jeremiah, are links different per session or always the same? Different per session. Yeah, great question. Answer that live. Okay. And then Laura is asking, does the studio record all participants locally? Yes, it does. So this is a good transition here. I'm going to pop out of this session because I want to show you guys a session where we recorded with multiple guests. Cool. Let's go in here. Let's go into this project. Cool. So this is Mark Webster, who's head of Adobe Podcast, and Sam Anderson, who's our uh, amazing designer. We have one designer on our team that's just designing everything that you're seeing here. And so what will happen is for every guest that you have, it'll delineate in the transcript who's speaking when. So we call that speaker diarization. And so when you record in here, it will record everyone locally, and then it will also send it to the cloud as well. So once we get to the end, I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. But if you go into download, you'll see this option to download separate files for each participant. So Laura, like if you're going into a different DAW, to do scoring or additional editing, you could do this. You could pull down the original recordings. So hopefully that answers your question there. Um, cool. I'm going to pop back in here real quick. So let's just take a listen here real quick, just so we can do a little bit of editing.
Hey there, this is Mark Webster, the head of Adobe Podcast.
And I'm Sam Anderson, the lead designer for Adobe Podcast.
Sam and I thought we'd put together a quick project to help you get started. Our goal is to make it easy for anyone to record, edit, and share spoken audio that sounds great.
Cool. So the nice thing is that you actually get this as a sample project if you're brand new to Adobe Podcasts. So you can kind of use this as like almost a sample project to play around with and kind of test some of your skills here. I know in this case I added an R to Mark's last name. So we are using AI transcription. It's pretty darn good. It's actually highly accurate. I would say close to like 95%. But occasionally it'll get, names wrong. For instance, my last name, Jarudek, that's kind of a hard one. So you have to go in and make the occasional correction. So in this case, if I wanted to fix Mark's just the last name, I can highlight it, use this correct transcript option here. And we're just gonna remove that extra R. Why am I doing this? Why is this important? It's helpful to have accurate transcripts, especially if later on you're going to be downloading your transcript, making it available in the show notes, adding captions later on. So it's good to be able to go through, do a listen, make sure everything's as accurate as possible for accessibility purposes. And you can highlight a full sentence and do additional corrections if there's a couple things that need to get corrected there. Couple other things that you can also do, you can basically cut, copy, and paste and move your content around. So let's say if here I want to add, I'm going to add a placeholder here as a reminder to re-record a new intro. This is what I like using placeholders for, either to leave notes for myself, or if later on I want to share this project with someone that I recorded with, I could send this to them, say like, hey, what do you think of this upcoming section? Maybe give me some notes so that we can make this as great as possible. But if I'm using this for solo purposes, I'll usually, do something like re-record here, or if it's a longer episode, like pick up at 33 minutes, because this is where you left off editing. Great. And then if I wanted to, let's say, take this section here, I'm going to highlight it, and there's a couple keyboard shortcuts here. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see those. So Command C, copy that. And I'm actually going to just delete it from here. And I want to move it down here. I'm going to paste. So there we go. We can kind of, as you can see, you can move your audio in the script based, to where you want to hear it in the transcript. So I'm going to play from here.
Just invite someone to join on the top right of your screen.
On the left side, you can upload audio from your computer. We also have
Cool. And if I don't like that edit, I can just undo, and easy as that. Now, like I said, if you want to upload audio instead, you can do that as well. So if you have pre-existing audio, you can just hit upload and then grab that audio from from your desktop and then transcribe it. And then you'd get that same experience here, be able to edit from the transcript. Another thing that's built into Studio, which I really love, is our music here. We worked with a company that's curated music specifically for spoken word and podcasts. So you can go in here and you can actually curate your own music too. So if you have stuff of your own, you can add that to your library, and it will always persist here whenever you create a new project. And then we also have bunch of royalty-free stuff available for you to use here. So you can go through, check out, you can audition all of the intros, outros, transition, and backgrounds. So let's do Fuzz. I don't think I've listened to this one yet. Okay, let's use that one. So I want to put it, I can just put my cursor wherever I want to hear the music. And I'll do short. There we go. Cool. And then from here, I can, if I click on the two bars, I can have it fade in, I can have it fade out, or set it as background music as we hear them talk. So how about we do all of them?
This is Mark Webster, the head of Adobe Podcast.
And I'm Sam Anderson, the lead designer for Adobe Podcast.
Sam and I thought we put together.
Cool. So you have some different options there. I see. Oh, cool. Let me pull up the Q&A. It looks like a couple questions come in here. Okay, Laura. Oh, great question, Laura. We were actually talking about this one in stand-up today. So the question is, can you upload synced multi-track audio into one project? Not today, but you will be able to shortly. We're probably a month or so out from being able to do that. So yeah, in the case of multi-track upload, what you would do is you would go to upload, and you would see an option to either upload a single file, and then the second option would be to upload synced multi-track audio. Oh, great question. I'm glad that came up. We're super close. I was testing that last week, and it's looking pretty good. Cool. And Jeremiah had a question. How does the text edit feature work with crosstalk? Great question. Let me pull up a different example to kind of illustrate how that works. Generally, it's pretty good with crosstalk, but I think there are some things with our transcription engine where we're still trying to dial it in. But this is a conversation I had with Sam last summer. Let's see here. Trying to find a spot where we started to talk over each other a little bit.
Perfect fuel before working. The only thing I would change about that dish is maybe a little hot sauce would be great. They should have hot sauce there. So that's what I would change.
Okay. So it does pretty good, like I said, but there are occasions where you will start to see kind of more of this like rapid back and forth in the transcript. So yeah, like I said, we're always working to make improvements with our transcription so that you get that nice clean transcript back. There we go. Hema. Okay, thank you, Hema. Thank you for clarifying. So you had a question: is there a feature to edit or to fix crosstalk? I'm using Descript now, and it allows me set my editing of each sequence to deal with this. Great question. Yeah. So not. The short answer is not yet. So, in the case of where you wanted to, let's say, pull out sort of like, and, not necessarily spoken audio, but there's crosstalk occurring. I know with Descript, you can like open up the sequence editor and kind of, peel back portions where, that happens. So in this case, what I'd probably do is get as close as possible as you can with Adobe Podcast. Do your rough edit, get to like 95% of the way there, and then you could bring it into something, like Audition or even Descript to deal with that amount of crosstalk. Yeah, but great question. Let's see here. And then Keith, if you want to play, Keith's question was, if you want to play a little before someone starts talking, how can you set that timing? Is there a timeline where you adjust things? Yeah. So we don't have a timeline editor. We probably won't ever really have a true timeline editor. We're trying to be a very simple tool that, so that you don't have to necessarily go into, something like Premiere or Audition. I think there will probably be things down the road where we will add some additional control. So being able to control, how long you want the music to play before, someone starts talking. So having that type of added control, but not like having a full blown timeline editor. Um, and let's see if I put in a little bit of music here, you'll see that, for example, like if you didn't want to have the full, what is this? I think it's like megawatt. This is 9 seconds. So if you didn't want to have the full 9 seconds, you could split it. So if, let's say I wanted to have it go up to maybe here, and I'll split it, and then I can get rid of that second half. Um, so it's not, again, it's not like a Pro Tools or Audition, but there are little ways you can kind of get around that in the transcript. Great question. Yeah, and then Shrikant also, yeah, there is no waveform based multi-track editor in Adobe Podcast. Yeah, text based only right now. Yeah, cool. Great. So I want to talk a little bit about the download options. So once you've got your recording sounding great, you got your transcript all up to date. We're going to go ahead and download. And actually, I should mention before we do download, you can share a template of your projects. So, for example, if you want to send a version to someone that you recorded with, you can it's basically just duplicating the project. So it's allowing you to retain your version, your edited version, or your original recording, and then send them a link to what you've created, and then they can open that up, and they can either listen back, and then send you some feedback, or they can kind of remix that project and then create a template, send it back to you. So there's kind of that way to like share projects and go back and forth in that sense. Cool. So then let's go ahead and download this. So you'll notice once you're ready to download your audio, there's a couple things that you can do here. So your audio will be your edited project. So anything that you made changes to, you'll be able to pull down an MP3 or WAV file. And again, this will just download locally to your machine. You can get a transcript out. There's a couple different formats here. So TXT, DocX, PDF. As I mentioned earlier, you can download original recordings as well, so separate files for each participant. And then we actually just introduced audiograms as well. You can change the size here. And then something that's actually coming is customization options. So right now, we have our sort of template audiogram, but you'll soon be able to go in and choose different layouts. You can also like add a different background image and fonts. So that's actually coming pretty soon. So, but we're excited to see what how these audiograms will evolve. It looks like Hema had another question here. So you're saying, I'm in the middle of editing an audio and video episode in Descript. There's an echo on the guest side. They weren't wearing headphones. For workflow, do you suggest fixing the audio in Adobe Podcast first, then moving to Descript? Yeah. So a question like, were they do you have a separate file just for that guest, or is this like a single file that both you and your guest are recorded to? Either way, you have separate files. Okay. So what I would probably do is bring your guest file, enhance them first, and then bring their enhanced file and then your file into Descript, and then edit from there. That's probably what I would recommend, especially if you're finishing off in Descript. and meaning like you're not going to another DAW after Descript. So yeah, that's probably what I think I just said Descript and Descript at the same time. So there we go. I actually used to work there too. So good times. Um, cool. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, cool. Let's talk a little bit about go back out to studio here. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Adobe Express now. So at this point, we've gone in, we've recorded, we've done some text-based editing, we've added some music, we're ready to download our final audio. Now we might need some podcast cover art, or even just something for social. So let's say if you have some video clips that you want to spruce up, we can jump into Express here. So down at the bottom, we can go into graphics templates. So if we do that, I'm gonna share this tab. There we go. You guys should be seeing editable free podcast cover templates. Um, make sure, is that what we're seeing here? Okay, great. So as you can see, there's a ton of templates that you can work from in Express, but you can also create your own custom bespoke cover art as well. But you'll see there's a bunch of templates that you can get started from. And let's say if I wanted to, just going to find something here that I could, yeah, let's use this one. And I see some folks in the chat, kind of talking about the studio sound feature. One thing, and again, I used to work there, so I can kind of speak to my experience. One thing, it's a great tool. One thing that I really like about enhanced speech in particular, and I've tested it on, in different scenarios, is that it really is great at retaining the original warmth and tone of the person's voice. I think like as models evolve, you'll also hear fewer artifacts as well. That was something even with V1 of enhanced speech. You notice that when I started to get like closer to 95%, 100%, it was starting to sound a little bit over processed and you would hear more artifacts. And whereas I think like in some scenarios with studio sound, it can sound a little bit more tinny. So again, like it really depends on the original audio that you're putting in, but I would say test out both and make sure, you're getting the output that you're going for. Cool. So I'm gonna pop back into Express here. So I just grabbed one of these templates here. So if let's this is harmonies. Podcast. It's way too big. So let's fix that so I can. Cool. I can get rid of that. So you can go in and like really just play around with different layers, move them around. And again, like I said, it's a lot like Canva. So if you're used to using a tool like Canva, you can, should be able to catch on pretty quick here. Maybe want to change the color and with, I'm seeing Jen. Jen is the last one in the chat, so I'm going to pick on you, Jen, with Jen Hardy. Perfect. I could, swap out this image too. So I'm just going to go back out to main Adobe Express, and you'll be able to see some of my most recent projects. I'm using different. Let's see here. I use this all the time for our blog actually, so I can go in and use the generate with AI. So I can say, create something for our affiliate page or give it a text prompt. Works a lot like Chat GPT. So let's actually put it to the test here. Generate image. And I can also give it reference styles too. So if I have particular image I want it to reference off of, you can do that. So I could say create a podcast studio background with bright colors. And maybe I want this to have kind of like a digital art look. I'm gonna do layered paper. and I have a style that I want to use. I've got my podcast. There we go. I want to use that as my reference. I'm going to generate. Let's see. I'm going to go to the chat and see if we've got any other questions. Oh, Shrikant. Okay, good point. So I think you're speaking, yeah, to sort of the differences here between studio sound and enhanced speech. I would say it does make a difference to have access to the slider. So that might be, I totally understand. Again, like it really varies, audio file to audio file. But yeah, it makes a difference being able to toggle how much of that enhanced speech strength you have, as opposed to the background noise as well. So, but totally hear you. Uh, but yeah, you can, let's see here. I can go into like the different images that I've created here, and then you can say like, okay, great. I can, let's say I want to erase part, some of these areas. So I can do that. Maybe. But you can see it's super simple to generate images. You can also start from your own content as well. So you can upload videos. And the nice thing with video is that you can do a lot of like basic things like trimming, resizing. You can easily merge videos here. You can convert stuff to GIFs. We also just added, I think it's in here now, clip maker. So very similar to kind of like what Opus does. So you can upload files here, and it'll create clips for you automatically. So as you can see, there's a lot of different things that you can do with Express. So think of like Adobe Podcast as your creation tool to record, edit, download, and then once you're ready to add in visuals, then you can kind of finish that off in Express. Okay. Um, the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, I'm going to go back to Adobe Podcast and share this tab instead. There we go. So just a couple of things in and around the free plan versus the premium plan. So I think the nice thing is that we will perpetually and always have a free plan. So that's one thing to note. You can sign up today if you want to give it a try. You're like, hey, I'm really interested in trying out that studio feature and testing out a recording. So you can get started. Couple things with the premium plan that it offers is you can upload video to enhance speech. You have more hours of enhancement. You can upload to or enhance up to 4 hours a day. You've got the strength slider. It's controlling how much speech enhancement and background noise you want to control. You can also do bulk upload as well. And again, the premium plan, it's $9.99 a month. And again, with that, you also automatically get access to Adobe Express Premium. And we do a 30-day premium trial as well. So you can try it out. And if it's not your cup of tea, you can always go back to the free plan. Let's see here. Let's open it up to questions here. I'm going to go to the Q&A. Yeah, and also if you have any product feedback too, throw that in there. I would love to take any feedback to the team. It looks like Shrikant, what was the ask here? Could you ask if they could make it possible to reverse engineer AI generated images into separate layers? Oh, cool. So I think I'm going to reshare. Let's see here. I think I can reshare Express. There we go. So I think that is possible. Let me try this real quick. Let's generate. Let's go to this image that I see. Yeah. So these aren't necessarily being treated as separate layers. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, and even if I do remove the background. Oh yeah, okay. So the one thing that if we go into a different image, so for example, I'm gonna go to this one here. So for example, I have a couple layers here. I've got my background layer, and then I've got a layer that's controlling kind of like these crayon brushes here. So if I move that around, I could just delete it completely. So yeah, great request there. Let's see. I think Jen had a let's see. Jen said, I think that's not in the Q&A. The one thing that's difficult is that I can't upload an entire video for sound edit. I need to cut them into pieces because of the limits, higher limits. Okay, awesome. So I'm guessing more than 1 GB, because that's what our current limit is. So yeah, if you have, would love to know like kind of like what your upper limits are. Is it like closer to 3 gigs, 4 gigs? Just kind of curious, like what the general like file size that you're working with. That would be helpful. Thanks. Let's see here. I see Jeff. Cool. So you've tried enhanced speech with different audio stems in the past. There's a that enhanced sounding. Okay, so the request is, when using stems, could Adobe Podcast eliminate the other person speaking in the background and only focus on the person speaking on the mic? Yeah. So with V2, it should have gotten better. So what V2 is doing is, if you have, for example, like a recording with 2 people and you have stems for them, and like if there is for any reason like mic bleed with either of those files, it is going to strip out the person, or it's going to enhance the person that is louder, so closer to the microphone, and it'll remove the person kind of with the fainter sound. But let me make yeah, let me know if I misunderstood there. Yeah, and if you haven't been able to try V2, give it a try. And yeah, especially like using those sliders too, that might help. Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna plan to stick around for the next 13 minutes, but if and Nancy, like, yeah, feel free to come back on screen, but let me know. Yeah, I'll stick around if y'all have any other questions.
I was like, where'd you go? Yeah, if anybody has any more questions, please feel free to utilize this time. If not, we absolutely want to thank Harmony for her time. Oh, looks like we have another question coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, and Jen, over 10 gigs. Okay, those are big files, so that's good to know. Thank you. um, yeah, so for audiograms, I'll reshare my screen here. Window. Oops. Okay. I think I've got podcast popping up here again. Awesome. Cool. So for audiograms, the idea is that if you have something that you've recorded and captured that is audio only, audiograms are a great way of bringing a video element to it. So there's tools out there. A few of you have mentioned Descript, which has an audiogram tool. There's other tools like Headliner out there. So there's different tools out there for creating audiograms. But basically, this is our essentially our V1 of audiograms. So right now you can go in and change the size. But what's coming is that you'll be able to change the background, or even like upload a video that you want to persist while the audiogram is showing. So that would be like the animated text, as well as a waveform at the bottom. Let's see here. And then Jeff, can you take the text as a video PNG and insert into the say Instagram reel? Yeah, if I'm understanding correctly, you want to, let's see here. Could you take the text? Would you want to bring the audio? I assume you'd want to bring the audio over as well. Uh, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So once we add the customization options, yeah, you could upload a PNG and do that. Um, But yeah, let's if for anyone that I would love to stay in touch with you all. So I'm gonna throw my email in the chat so that we can keep talking. And if any of you wanted to like jump on a call and talk about your workflow, or get kind of like more insights into what we have coming down the line with our product roadmap, happy to grab time with y'all. And just so you can kind of get some insights into what's coming, I did allude to branching out to video. That's one of our main pillars that we're going to be working on over the next quarter. But another thing too is that we right now we do allow for transcription in multiple languages. You can transcribe in English, German, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and we're going to be branching out to other languages as well. So that's something that will be coming, and then be able to upload separate stems, multi-track upload. And then so the last pillar in and around exporting, be able to kind of grow the kind of artifacts that you can create. So bringing more customization to audiograms, be able to pull out or export just sections of a project. So if you have a specific clip that you want to pull out, be able to do that. So yeah, so lots to come, but that's the basic gist of what we're going to be working on over the next couple of months.
Well, Harmony and everybody, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. It
Yeah.
looks like we've reached the end of our Q&A. Thank you so much for your time. All right,
Yeah,
we
my
hope that we
pleasure.
see everybody at another webinar soon. All right, we're getting thank yous. All right, Harmony, thank you so much. I am going to stop the recording.